Over the next few minutes, I'm going to lay out a simple, powerful way to build real wealth in today's market. We're talking no guesswork, no sleepless nights, and no hidden costs that trip up pretty much everyone else. Now, just a quick heads up before we jump in, I'm an analyst and this is all for educational purposes. It's not personal financial advice. You've got to do your own research because, all investing comes with risk. To really get a grip on investing today, you have to understand one massive shift. The free money era is over. Gone. For what felt like forever, interest rates were near zero, which meant you could basically throw a dart at a board, buy almost anything, and watch it go up. Well, those days are over. The rules have changed, the hype has definitely cooled off, and a smarter, more structured approach isn't just nice to have, it's essential. So, here's our game plan for building that exact approach. First, we're going to understand the new playground we're all on. Then, we'll build the core of your portfolio, what I call the three-legged stool. After that, we'll put the whole thing on autopilot, hunt down the silent killer that is fees, and finally, we'll talk about how to maintain your fortress for the long haul. Okay, let's start with our new playground. Look, if you want to invest successfully, you have to know the field you're playing on. And the economic environment of 2026 is just fundamentally different from what we saw just a few years ago. And here's what that shift really looks like. In the past, money was cheap, right? Almost any company, good or bad, could get funding. Now we're in the new normal. Borrowing costs actually matter, which means only well-run, profitable companies really have a shot at thriving. And maybe the biggest change of all, bonds. They used to be a total drag on your portfolio. Today, they are an absolutely vital shock absorber. So, the takeaway here is crucial. The market in 2026, it's defined by stability, but also by selectivity. You can't just be lazy anymore. But, and this is important, you also don't need to be panicked. The key is to stop trying to predict the next election or the next inflation report. Instead, start building an investment fortress that can handle any headline the world throws at it. And that brings us to the foundation of your entire fortress. Honestly, this is the most critical step in the whole process: asset allocation. If you get this part right, everything else we talk about just falls into place. This number right here, it might just be the most important number in all of finance. A landmark study found that over 90%, let that sink in, 90% of your portfolio's long-term performance comes down to how you split your money up, not which hot stock you picked. It's the architecture of the house, not the color you paint the walls. So how should you split it? Well, think of your portfolio like a three-legged stool. It's just built for stability. For a lot of investors, a fantastic, super balanced starting point is right here. 60% in global stocks for your growth, 30% in bonds for that stability, and 10% in cash for emergencies and opportunities. Let's look at what each leg actually does. Global equity, that's your growth engine. It's your long-term bet on human innovation around the world. Fixed income, or bonds, that's your shock absorber. It keeps things from getting too crazy when the stock market gets volatile. And cash, well, that's your dry powder. It's the money you keep ready for life's curveballs or for when a great opportunity pops up. Okay, you have your blueprint. Now, how do you actually execute this plan consistently? The secret is to take your single biggest enemy out of the equation entirely, and that enemy is your own emotions. And the best tool for this is a timeless strategy called dollar cost averaging. It sounds complicated, but it's incredibly simple. You just set up an automatic investment, a fixed amount of money, on the same day every single month. That's it. You're not trying to time the market. This system naturally forces you to buy more shares when prices are low and fewer when they're high, basically smoothing out all the bumps over time. And that's really the goal here. You want to turn investing from this stressful, news-driven casino game into a completely boring habit, like paying your phone bill. Seriously, because when it comes to building wealth over the long term, boring is good. Boring is incredibly powerful. Boring makes money. All right, so your fortress is designed, your automation engine is humming along, but there is a silent killer that can slowly and quietly eat away at your foundation if you're not paying attention. And we are talking about fees. Just look at this comparison. It's absolutely staggering. A 1% fee versus 0.05% fee. It sounds like pocket change, right? It's not. Let's make this real. If you invested 100 grand and it grew at 7% a year for 30 years, that tiny little difference in fees could cost you over $200,000 in lost returns. That is real money that should be in your pocket, not someone else's. The lesson? Stick to low-cost index funds and ETFs, period. And finally, let's talk about maintenance. Your fortress is built, it's efficient, but markets are always changing, so your plan needs a simple little upkeep routine. This whole section is about managing risk so that you can stay calm and, this is the most important part, stay invested. I want you to ask yourself this question, and I want you to be brutally honest. If you woke up tomorrow and your entire portfolio was down 30%, what would your gut reaction be? If the answer is to panic and sell everything, then you have too much risk in your portfolio, and you need to fix it now while things are calm. So here is your defensive toolkit. First, never ever invest money that you might need in the next 3 to 5 years. Keep that as a cash buffer. Second, diversify. If one single stock or one sector makes up a huge chunk of your portfolio, you're not investing, you're gambling. And third, rebalance once a year. This is a system that forces you to sell what's done well and buy what's lagging. It's automatic discipline. So let's wrap it all up with the entire 5-step plan. Number 1, accept that rates are normal and growth is selective. 2, build your boring, stable, 3-legged stool. 3, automate everything to get your emotions out of it. 4, be absolutely relentless about keeping your fees low. And 5, manage your risk so you can actually sleep at night. You know, this is really the ultimate takeaway. Success in today's market has nothing to do with finding some secret stock tip or trying to outsmart everyone else. It is all about having a solid, simple plan and then having the discipline to stick with it for years and just letting compound interest do all the heavy lifting for you. And that leaves us with one final thought. Take a really hard look at your own investment strategy. Have you actually built a fortress, something founded on proven principles and discipline? Or is it more like a house of cards, just built on a guess? The choice is yours.